Hey everybody, I'm Sam and welcome back to the Good Beta. Episode 2, let's go. All right, I told you at the end of the first one that I was training for a triathlon. And to sum it up, it went well. It was an amazing event, such a rewarding feeling, and I have to send a big shout out to Dynamic Events who put these things on. They run such a great, well-organized, fun, and safe event, and I'm so grateful for it. I just wish that I had hydrated better that day because by the end of it I was feeling a little bit dizzy, but I made it to the end. It was such a hot day and I beat my last year's time, so stoked about that. All right, now in the first episode we talked about strength training, and now that I'm all tight and sore from doing that triathlon, unless I want to be one of those people who can't touch their toes or look over their shoulder, then I'm going to need to stretch, which is the topic for today. We're going to start by taking a realistic look at stretching. Then we're going to talk about when and how much we should stretch. And finally, I'm going to tell you a bit about the best way I've found so far to get a good stretch in. And spoiler alert, it's yoga class. Okay, first off, just like I said in the first episode about strength training, stretching is also not really all that fun. For most of us, it's a chore to remember to stretch. I have even heard people say that they don't like it because they feel like they look silly or weak when they're stretching. Now that's a bit of a stretch. Okay, and once again, just like strength training, I will say point taken, because that's right, I will be the first to admit that stretching is probably not as fun as, say, not stretching. So let's be mindful of that and accept the fact that, once again, with a small amount of effort, stretching will make those fun things that we like to do even more fun. And let's be honest, a good stretch feels pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, it does, because the science is known. Stretching restores your overworked muscles and helps with muscle growth and lowers the chances of muscle or joint injuries that can occur from every type of physical activity, or from simply doing your job, or even from doing nothing at all. Stretching helps keep your body stay healthier no matter what. Okay, second thing. There has been some debate over the years about when to stretch and how much stretching is actually necessary. For example, for some time they used to always say you should stretch before you do sports or physical activities. And then they changed their mind and said, no, you should actually stretch after you do the sports and physical activities. And then they said, well, no, it's fine, just make sure you warm up before you stretch. And now they've reversed back again, and they say, well, actually, it is good to stretch before, as long as you do it carefully, because you want to open up those joints and get some synovial fluid in there. Now, I'm not sure where this debate is at these days, but if you know something about it, please feel free to post your comments. But what I can say with absolute certainty is that some small amount of stretching is always going to be better than no stretching at all. So, stop worrying about when you should stretch or how much you should stretch, and just stretch in a way that feels good for you and when it feels right for you in what you're doing. Take your time. Hold your stretches so you feel a good pull, and breathe. And one thing to remember, it's pretty hard to do too much stretching. In fact, I would argue it's impossible to do too much stretching, because if someone were to hurt themselves from stretching, it was likely because of poor quality and not too much quantity. Okay, now I want to talk about yoga. I have not found a better way to get in a helpful amount of stretching and a way that I feel that good afterwards than from a yoga class. Nothing fancy. I usually just go to like a flow class. And if you're the kind of person that prefers to keep it private, then of course there are books and online classes as well. But personally, I don't feel like I get the same benefit from those as I do from going to a class. And I want to address something that might be on your mind. Yeah, sometimes as a guy, it feels a little bit weird going to a yoga class, because on average, the ratio is about 1 man for every 10 women in any given class. Sometimes a little less, but basically around there. And when I first started going to yoga about 20 years ago, it was exactly the same. So there's no trend or anything here. And the way the classes are done and the environment and everything about it, I'm not going to lie, there's definitely more of like a feminine vibe. And, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. And why should it even really matter, right? It's funny, as I was leaving the yoga class the other day, thinking about how I wanted to do this vlog, this person approaches me, looked like a woman in, say, her 50s. She sees me walking with my mat and says to me, "Really? Yoga? I never would have thought for someone like you." To which I replied, like, "Oh, why not? I mean, I often have to force myself to go, but I always feel better afterwards." And if there's anything I hope that folks get out of this vlog, it's to stop believing the hype about what people say you should or shouldn't do, and just live your life the way that works for you. I mean, there are men and women literally in their 70s and 80s who are absolutely crushing it, okay? People find what works for them, and they do it. So stop caring about what people think and do what works for you. In Jerry Lopez's Yin and Yang surf documentary, he says in this film that he realized a long time ago that if he got really good at doing yoga, then he would be so much better at surfing. And that's exactly what he did. And I have to say thank you to Jerry Lopez, because as a surfer, I'm going to take my advice from Mr. Pipeline than over some random person's advice on the street corner. And so apart from the actual physical aspects of yoga, there's also an excellent meditative mental component as well, which at first I kind of struggled to understand, but now I have gotten used to that. And there are so many benefits from the mindful part of yoga too. Okay, what have we learned today? All right, number one, stretching, like strength training, is really not all that fun, but by doing more stretching, you will be able to have more fun at the things that you like to do. Number two, don't worry about when you should stretch or how much you should stretch. Stretch whenever it feels right for you, whether that's first thing in the morning, before you go to bed, before or after some sports, or even between meetings at work. Stretch often. And number three, do yoga. That's it. That's all. Remember to click like if you like this. Until next time.